Hi, I'm Heather ENTREKIN, General Chair of the American Baptist Women in Ministry Annual Appeal for ABC USA. Have you ever thought about how you got to your current place of ministry? Who influenced you along the journey? What advice might you give to others as they perhaps struggle to find their way in ministry? You are not alone. In fact, your journey as a woman in ministry or a supporter of women in ministry is part of the fabric of ABC leaders who have helped shape the past and current landscape of thousands of women and men, ordained and licensed, to carry out God's mission. We know that mentors play an enormous role in helping women recognize and fully live out their God-given calls. This and other mentor stories highlight the importance of advocating and strengthening mentoring relationships throughout our journey together. Because you have already walked this road yourself, you are essential to addressing challenges we continue to face in fully accessing, embracing, and utilizing all God's gifts in all God's people for all God's good.
The person who has been a mentor to me was Ella Pearson Mitchell. I met Ella in the 80s when her husband, the Reverend Dr. Henry H. Mitchell, was on his way to Richmond, Virginia to be the Dean of Students at Virginia Union. My husband and I, Reverend Dr. Betty Wright Riggins, we drove in the car behind them as they moved all their belongings across country. So we had a lovely time, opportunities to talk, and we would switch cars. We would switch drivers so that we each would have an opportunity to spend long stretches with one another. Ella was pivotal in my life. What she did was that she spoke into my life at a time when I wasn't really sure if where God was calling me. One of the things she did, her husband, I called him affectionately, still do, H.H., Henry Mitchell, wrote the first book on African American preaching. He's the one that put it in seminaries, that there was something unique about the way African Americans approached texts and expressed themselves in the pulpit. Ella was a Christian educator, bright, smart. She worked tirelessly with pastors who had not gained all of their theological education. She worked with them individually. She taught them how to write and to express themselves, not just so they got MDivs, but ultimately they received their DMins. And what she taught me, who was an educator and a speech pathologist at the time, about how important it is, and do not minimize the role of the Christian educator in the work of the kingdom. She also taught me how to have my own voice, how to be who I was, unique in that in the preaching moment, I don't hoop. Neither did Ella. In the preaching moment, to bring all of who God has given me to that moment and not worry about the noise around me, not be concerned about the adoration that my husband, her husband, received from the crowd, but to stand firm and to be Betty. That was valuable to me. The other thing she taught me was that I was not to advocate for women when I was in the pulpit. She said, your advocacy is your preparation. Your advocacy is how you affirm God's call in your life. Your advocacy is letting the Spirit move through you so folk can see not Betty, but the Spirit moving through Betty. That was so important to me, and it has served me well, because she also taught me that God didn't call me in spite of. God called me because of my personality, who I am, the gifts that God had already given me. I loved Ella. She was bright and smart and bawdy. People don't think of Dr. Ella Mitchell as someone who could tell a bawdy joke and just laugh with her belly open. People don't think about Ella as a person who would sit down and tell me, literally, how to hurry up and go to the bathroom so you can get back in that pulpit. People don't think about that. But that's the Ella I knew. That's the one who pulled down her curtain and let me see who she was. She taught me a great deal. And I will always remember Ella and can still hear that voice in my ear when I am quiet. She had a very distinct way of speaking. She had a very distinct way of approaching Scripture. And that helped me as I began to think and pray and approach Scripture and to be a proclaimer of who God called me to be.
Perhaps you wonder, how can I help now? Through American Baptist Women in Ministry's Access for Excellence initiative, your mentor story, like this story, regional participation, and/or financial gift can support our mission to open doors for current and future women in ministry. To learn more about how to share your mentor story and other ways to give, please contact ABC USA's Office of American Baptist Women in Ministry at 800-222-3872, extension 2070, or email patricia.hernandez@abcusa.org. We have the challenge. We know the mission. Let's all join in this adventure of helping new and current generations of women develop their calls to ministry and leadership in God's body. Your witness will make a difference. So please let us hear from you now. Thank you, and God bless you.